Air signs taroscope for Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. As I was shuffling the cards, I felt as if the reading is going to be about something romantic. I actually don't ask the cards a particular question. I just want to be open for receiving whatever might be important, and to not be too fixed on a certain topic. And I was doing it the same way for all the other signs. And usually I already feel during shuffling what the reading is going to be about. And in this case, I feel it's going to be focused or going to go into the direction of romance a little bit more than into other directions. And what I also felt was really sweet and innocent feeling in the heart space, but not something very intense and nothing fiery, like something sweet and innocent, and it was a very subtle feeling. And what I was also feeling, besides the heart energy, there was an energy in the head. I have a feeling that this reading is going to resonate with, I don't know how to say it, like with some people who live a little bit of a loner lifestyle. Very introverted people who reflect upon things a lot and are probably on the spiritual path. That's how it felt. It was just a little underlying thing I was sensing. I just want to let you know that I'm not a native English speaker, so if I make some mistakes, don't be surprised. My English is not perfect. Anyway, let us start. And sometimes I need some time to feel into things and to try to find the right words for it, because I don't read the cards with using too much of logic. I'm more into feeling things, so that's why sometimes I'm speaking a little bit slow, because I need to process some things. We start the reading with the Knight of Wands and the Five of Swords. I also want to let you know that on my right side I have some more clarification cards, which I don't want to constantly show on the screen because it's just too much chaos. It's just my own personal tarot style I developed for myself. The Knight of Wands and the Five of Swords. I got a feeling that the Knight of Wands might be a foreign energy, a person or situation, and you are the Five of Swords. I think that you fought a battle, or that you left a situation behind, you cut something or someone off, and in this card We always have to figure out if we are the person here or this guy. To me, the person in the front is the winner. And even though he has won, he still feels, he's smiling, but he's not really happy. It's an aggressive kind of smiling, and there's still, you can see there's still this, it's not peaceful or harmonious. There's, okay, I won, but yeah, still, fuck you. There's still a slight sense of anger in it. And I think that this person, the winner person, represents you. You left something behind. The Knight of Wands, person or situation. And now you move on from it with the Eight of Cups and the Sun card. I think they both represent, in this case, both your energies. And I think that while you're moving on from the situation, you still, as I said already, you won the fight, but you still feel some of the angry exit running through your body. You're moving on now, and I think that your head is already closing off from the situation, but there's a little bit, I feel there's a little bit of repression going on. You might feel like, okay, now I won, I'm moving on, so why think about it anymore? But I think that emotionally there's still some work to do. There's still something to be recognized and then let go of, but you're just carrying it with you and not really looking at it. That's how I feel. And the Sun card is just, in this case, putting a little bit of ease to the situation. Like, things may not be perfect, even though you left a situation that you didn't like and you still feel a slight sense of bitterness. You are very patient about it and you are trying to stay positive, okay? And you're just moving on into the direction of the Magician and the Two of Wands. And I have the feeling that the first two sections relate to maybe to a romantic situation. Could also be family or friend situation or a job situation, but I feel as if for most of you it's about a romantic situation. And suddenly it shifts into a strong self-focus. The Magician, in this case, the Magician can manifest things, materialize things. He's initiative and active. And in this case, I have the feeling it doesn't relate to it is not too externalized. I have a feeling it is a little bit like with the goal to materialize or manifest things in the outer world, but at the same time I feel as if it is also, as if the focus is also inwards, like you're going into that introspective and releasing yourself from the previous situation, focusing on yourself, being with yourself, maybe focusing on making a dream come true or changing something in your life, and you're trying to work on it, but you're working on it internally and externally at the same time, which is quite good actually. And you're waiting for a rebirth of something you want. Rebirth, probably a better word would be a renewal or a new start. And you're planning and trying to figure out how would be the best way to start to make your new perspective become a reality. That's what I'm seeing here. And there's also an underlying feeling of that it's not only about work or a hobby or something, it's also about your spiritual evolution. You don't only want something to change in your external life. I have the feeling that you're always working on, also at the same time working on something internal. That you're aspiring an internal change and shift as well. Then we move on to the next section. And don't worry, in the first moment it looks not so pleasant. The 10 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. Ooh. Oh, I know these energies so well. And the first moment I saw them, I was a little bit surprised and confused, because when I was shuffling the cards, I felt really sweet and innocent. And suddenly these heavy cards pop out. But I clarified them, as I already showed you here on my right side with the other deck. And actually what the cards are pointing towards is that the 10 of Swords represents something I would like to differentiate that the 10 of Swords already happened on the emotional level, and the 9 of Swords is something that happened or still happens on the mental level. And I feel that the situation of the 10 of Swords is already over. It is already, you already got stepped with 10 swords. So there's nothing more to stab. You're already dead, emotionally. I don't mean it as bad as it sounds. And so there's no further emotional pain happening. And the 9 of Swords, the overthinking, the over stressing about things, this is also ending. I see it in the clarification cards with it's clarified with beyond illusions and trust. Because when we are overthinking, overanalyzing, extreme worries that keep us up at night, actually, even if nothing happens, we are just imagining this and that could happen, and we are analyzing and imagining things, and then we start to worry and to feel like shit. But in this case, because it's clarified with beyond illusion, which tells us that this overthinking and overanalyzing and worrying is only in the head. It's a mental game we are playing with ourselves. And we are stepping beyond this illusion, beyond the whole mind drama that we are creating in our heads. And the second card I clarified, the 9 of Swords, is trust. And worry is also just a lack of trust. We are not trusting that our lives are going to unfold in a beautiful way, or in a way that it doesn't cause us harm or troubles. We are worrying that something terrible is about to happen. And if we are believing that something terrible is going to happen, we don't have trust in life or in ourselves or in God or whatever. And that is what I meant with don't worry too much about these two cards, because they are actually clarified with some quite good cards. So we are stepping, or you are stepping beyond these energies. That's what I'm seeing here. Okay, and suddenly from this energy, you are suddenly coming back into the romantic stuff again. You are going through a phase of being with yourself, reflecting upon things, working internally and externally. And then we get the Five of Pentacles and the Lovers. And with this combination, I have the feeling that you are reflecting upon maybe you had a lot of, maybe you were lonely for a long time, or you didn't believe that love could happen to you, or you just didn't feel worthy of love, or that maybe far, far in the future you will experience love. That's how I feel. I feel as if you are reflecting upon your own thought patterns, your own thought process, your own beliefs about yourself, your self-created belief system somehow. And I think you're starting to see through that. Like believing that maybe you don't deserve this, or you don't, or it's not available for you. And you remain in this state of lack when it comes to romance. And I see you having deep insights about yourself, about your own belief system, and how you relate towards romance. And then we come to the Two of Swords and the Ten of Wands. And I see both of these energies as your own. I see the Two of Swords not as someone in a dilemma or someone who is defensive. I see him in this case as someone who has enough trust and faith to keep his blindfold on, because he's not in need of control. With the arms crossed in front of the torso and the swords, I don't see him as someone attacking. I also don't see him as someone who is defensive. I think the card is often interpreted this way, but I don't see it this way. I see it as someone who trusts and who lets things just come towards him or her without feeling the need to push everything away. What I would perceive as defensive is if the swords were pointing forwards or something like that. But if you hold the swords like this and have a blindfold on, I mean, you're not really in a good position to defend yourself. That's why I often don't see the card like this. And with the Ten of Wands, I see this not as a current situation, like you're, oh my god, you're carrying such a heavy burden and it's a really negative card. I see it as something that is coming to an end. I see you as this person represents you in the past, and because now you drop this burden in front of the new you, so to speak. You know, you are getting out of that mindset of lack about romance, and this burden, you will just drop it, and then you become this person with the Two of Swords. Okay, then you get back into a phase of contemplation, Four of Swords, and the Hermit. And because I sense all the time that it is a romantic reading, so the Hermit could be a single, but not in a lonely sense, because you can also be single and just be contemplative. And these two cards together are extra contemplative, meditative, introspective. And I clarified them here on the right side with totality and change and playfulness. And I think that you are still in this contemplative mode with yourself, still going into deep soul searching, while at the same time slowly an opening happens to the possibility that something might come in for you that disapproves of all your old and wrong beliefs you had about romance. And I have the feeling you're not like impatient, or you're not in any urgency. You're just really quiet about it, reflecting upon things, and just opening to the possibility of healing yourself from these old thought patterns. And the Ace of Wands and the Moon card. I see the Ace of Wands and the Moon card in this case as the Moon card just proves that you're finally coming out of this unconscious or subconscious, out of these deep dark waters into the light. I know the moon is not the sun, but it's still light. And for me, I often interpret the Moon card as something coming out of the hidden onto the surface. I don't see the Moon card in a negative sense right now. It's like you're coming out of yourself, and what I'm also sensing is you're finally coming out of the introspection after you went on a deep soul search, and you might have found all your answers, all the answers that you were looking for. You found them, and now you're ready to come out, step back into the world, and there's a new initiation, a new beginning of something. And that's what I was sensing while I was shuffling the cards, that there's a very sweet and innocent energy. Like maybe you already have someone on your mind, and you were actually leaving this person behind because you had a feeling, yeah, it will anyway not work out, or maybe something weird happened with that person and you just left the situation and thinking like, yeah, it anyway won't work out, and you were negative about it and left the situation, focused on yourself. But while you were focusing on yourself, you were pushed back into, come on, self-reflection about romance again. Please rethink your negative thought patterns, and then you're in this process, you slowly start opening up again, so that maybe this person that you were thinking of as maybe rejected you, or is not right for you, or anyway doesn't want you, suddenly your thought patterns about the situation change, and there's a new beginning, and you step out of yourself again. And I clarified the Ace of Wands with creativity, and creativity can mean many things. It can, you can be creative in so many ways. But because I already said, I have this strong feeling that this reading is more about romance than anything else. Not romance, romance. Than anything else. Creativity, it could be interpreted as a sexual card. So maybe you're opening up to this possibility. Maybe you were closed off to this possibility for a while, and maybe you're starting to get a new point of view about these things. Yeah, just as I already said, just to remind you again, I think you were just a little bit guarded and withdrawing from a certain situation, and then you later on realize maybe the situation wasn't as bad as it seemed, and I was just seeing it through a negative filter and making some things up, and then you go through this deep soul searching and figure out, hey, maybe there is a possibility that actually something positive could come out of this, and now you're opening up again. And I feel this innocent sweetness coming in. Bottom of the deck, we got the Queen of Swords, and I clarified her with a bunch of cards. First one was the intellect, which is not a surprise. It's a very strong quality of the Queen of Swords, and I just think it's just talking about the fact again that you're now, how shall I express this? You're using your mind to see through to your mind. You're using your mind in a sharp and clear way to reflect upon your own negative thought patterns, and you cut them off. And I also clarified it not only with the intellect, but also with the new vision. So you're gaining a new vision and leave your old thought patterns behind. And last but not least, I pulled this extra card just to get a little advice, or to get a feeling for the main topic of the reading. And it's about, I'm trying to translate it. It says, the time has come that your dreams become reality. Don't worry about how that will happen. Just be grateful to God for everything you have and what is about to come. Quite positive card here, right? And I also clarified this card with a bunch of other cards, and the other cards are completeness, the lovers, the fool, and friendliness. Really positive. So I think what the advice of this card is just be open to what there is something that wants to come in, but you have to be open for it. And with your old thought patterns, even if it still wants to come in, you might not be able to recognize it as something positive if you don't take off the negative filter from your thought process about romance. And I think you will just really realize this and come into just come to peace with it and into completion of this process. And yeah, it's about love and lovers and a new start with the Fool and friendliness and yeah, just as I said, because it's not you know, I just, from the beginning on when I was shuffling, I have the feeling it's not something very hot and passionate. It's something very, very innocent. So I have the feeling there could be something, if you're open to receive it, something very sweet and friendly, because that's what I like so much. It's not only the Lovers card I pulled as a clarification, but also friendliness and friendship. And I think that this is very important if you want to have a very deep, stable, and especially long-lasting commitment. You don't only need to be passionate lovers. You also need the friend aspect, you know? If you don't have that, usually it won't last too long. So I see something very innocent and friendly and sweet coming in. So please work on your negative thought patterns. And that's all I got for you. I hope it resonated with you. Thank you for watching.